The CRTC wants to know how radio, TV, and digital platforms in Canada can best meet the needs of Indigenous viewers, listeners, and content creators. Join the conversation today at crtc.gc.ca/indigenous-broadcasting.
A message from the Government of Canada.
Le CRTC veut savoir comment la radio, la télévision et les plateformes numériques au Canada peuvent mieux répondre aux besoins des spectateurs, auditeurs et créateurs de contenu autochtones. Joignez-vous à la conversation aujourd'hui au crtc.gc.ca/radiodiffusion-union autochtone.
Un message du gouvernement du Canada.
I'm Rick Harp. This is your APTN News Brief for Friday, May 3rd. We begin in Saskatoon, where the search continues for missing Métis woman Mackenzie Trottier, a search very much supported by Métis Nation Saskatchewan. With more, Rachel May.
It's difficult, and when they're searching somewhere that is particularly difficult, like a landfill, I think we all feel the tragedy and the sadness for the Trottier family.
December 21st, 2020, 22-year-old Mackenzie Trottier left her family home in Saskatoon. She hasn't been seen again. Yesterday, after nearly 3.5 years, the search for her moved to the Saskatoon landfill. Michelle Leclerc, Vice President of Métis Nation Saskatchewan, commends the city police for actively searching the landfill and not letting Mackenzie be forgotten.
That's important for that family to know that they are being acknowledged and that their child is important.
The Trottiers have posted on social media that Mackenzie would not want this attention unless it meant action for all missing people. Leclerc says although Mackenzie isn't here to use her voice, she is still helping raise awareness about missing and murdered people.
And women in particular are at risk of going missing, of being murdered. And some of us, for no other reason than we look the way that we do.
When it comes to searches like this, Leclerc says it's vital people remember to have empathy.
It doesn't matter where they've been. They are part of people's family. They are part of our community. They are loved and they are missed.
Leclerc says Métis Nation Saskatchewan workers will continue to support the Trottier family through this difficult time. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
$4.8 billion. That's the amount sought in a new lawsuit against the City of Winnipeg, jointly launched by 8 First Nations. They accuse the city of dumping sewage into waterways and polluting Lake Winnipeg. This after a burst city pipe released over 200 million liters of raw sewage into the Red River back on February 7th. Now, those First Nations claim the city, province, and federal government violated their treaty rights and failed to consult them about the condition of Lake Winnipeg. The lawsuit calls on the defendants to build ways to prevent raw sewage from entering the waterways. It also demands $500 million be paid to each plaintiff First Nation and $100 million for punitive damages. Broken Head Ojibwe First Nation Chief Gordon Bluesky.
It's a number of things that I've heard over the years and I've seen over the years of fish coming to the surface and obviously that are deceased. Some are deformed. There's also 1 year I witnessed hundreds of dead frogs on the shorelines of Lake Winnipeg. Obviously, we hear stories from our knowledge keepers and elders that the water in Lake Winnipeg at one time, you used to be able just to scoop a cup in there and drink right from our lake because of how clean it once was. And that wasn't long ago.
Indigenous Project Quebec, a downtown Montreal shelter, will soon meet its goal of long-term housing for some of its clientele. In the works for 2 years, the pilot project will, come July, make 14 rooms available for rent, connected to a collective kitchen, common area, and 2 bathrooms. The rooms are meant for those now leading lives of sobriety, people who'd otherwise end up back at a shelter where alcohol is allowed. Executive Director Stacey Boucher-Anthony.
We're renting this building for 5 years, so the purpose of it is to rent apartment units for people who are going to want to stop using alcohol or drugs. So before they could sign a lease, they would have to sign an agreement saying that they're going to go to therapy. And then after the therapy sessions, they come back here and they have their room for at the most 5 years.
Hello, I'm Sav Jonesa, guest host of Face to Face. Coming up on our next episode, I'll be sitting down with Katarina Ziervogel, an actor and writer from Winnipeg. We discuss the role of Indigenous voices within science fiction and how deaf and Indigenous cultures interact. Tune in Tuesday on APTN or listen to the Face to Face podcast. Download and subscribe on your favorite player.
And finally, an Ontario school's unexpected shutdown of an online training program has left its students and instructors out in the cold. And as Annette Francis reports, the move came with little to no communication.
Things are locked up tight at the Native Education and Training College in North Bay, Ontario. This notice, posted on the door dated February 7th, states, due to non-payment of rent arrears, the landlord has terminated the lease and hereby repossessed the premises. And there's been no access to online programs for students either. Amanda Weichel dreamed of getting a diploma in human resources management. So last November, when she saw the program was being offered online through the Native Education and Training College, she applied. Soon after, paying $6,100 in tuition, those dreams faded.
And I got a 14-day free trial with my course and the books. Once the 14 days had expired, then I didn't hear from anybody.
Weichel is a member of the Pikwakanagan First Nation in Ontario. She was never able to begin the program. Weichel was permanently locked out of the system in December and didn't hear from anyone until January 12th.
Finally, they had gotten back to me because I told them that I was going to go to the media and get myself legal advice. And as soon as they heard that, they reached out to me right away. And they said that they'd give me my full refund because it was still within the 30 days. So I filled out the paperwork for my full refund on January 12th. And after 30 days, I still have not received anything.
Skylar Sayers is from the Mississauga First Nation in Ontario. He was taking the environmental technician program. Sayers has been locked out too, although his band did pay for the program.
I did the exam on January 4th, and I I complete the test or the exam, handed in, and there's no contact from anybody from that point until maybe two or three communications from anybody at that school between then and now.
APTN contacted the Ministry of Colleges and Universities about the situation. Its response, the Superintendent of Career Colleges is aware of the students' concerns and is speaking with the parties to facilitate a resolution. In an emailed statement from Larry Stewart, the owner of NETC, he claims someone had stolen the tuition checks from his mailbox and that their online platform was hacked and that all the instructors had quit. Ex-instructor Lorraine Neal disagrees on that last point. She had worked at the NETC since 2016. In March, Neal asked to be laid off because she wasn't getting paid.
And it was frustrating. So that's why I requested to be laid off. But I never got my ROE. They never fired me. I never officially quit. I have no idea where I stand.
Meanwhile, Weichel wants to be reimbursed. However, she's giving up on any future education endeavors.
I'm just going to leave it as it is. Unfortunately, it just kind of put a bad taste in my mouth, and I'm not going to pursue it.
According to Stewart's statement, tuition fees are now refundable, and they're working on transferring students to another online platform. In the meantime, the school and available programs continues to be advertised online. Annette Francis, APTN National News, North Bay.
And that's your APTN News Brief for Friday, May 3rd. I'm Rick Harp.